All right, I think I'm ready. You guys should see what I just had to go through. Hello, everyone. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, and welcome to episode number 43 of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues. We're going to be joined pretty shortly on the line with Billy Jack Rucks. There he is. Give me 2 seconds, and we'll get the show on the road.
We good?
We're very good.
All right, awesome.
Scared to mess things up with you.
Oh, get out. I've seen you work before.
I would be scared to mess things up with you. All right, so as you guys are logging in, remember, say where you're logging in from, make your comments and what have you. Our mutual good friend Sully Welch is on here. I saw Ajar and Brian Dobler show up. I don't think he's ever been on one of my shows before, so that means you're a man of good repute. All right. So guys, say where you're logging in from. Let me tell you. Okay, I wrote something down. My guest today is a guy that I've known about for a while, but he's part of what I call the elusive Atlanta crew. Now that doesn't mean he's from Atlanta. It just means that I know him from Atlanta. But we'll get into all of that. But why he's elusive is because I see him, he's there, but he doesn't attract any attention to himself at all, right? So, oh, wait, okay, so I got to do this for a second because I wanted to look like you as much as I could. So I didn't shave, and check this out.
Oh,
right.
No, that's too funny.
Okay, the only thing is, I can't see anything if I do that, right?
Funny story with the glasses, too.
Right? So, the other thing is, I use this phrase to describe you, and it's a compliment. Battle weary, right? Because here's what I mean. When it comes to combat, I think that you've seen what you've seen, you know what you know, and you know what works and what doesn't. But all of that is just what I believe. So everybody say hello to Billy Jack Rucks, and let's all get to know for sure by getting to know you better.
Awesome. I appreciate you inviting me on.
Oh, it's my pleasure, man. It's my pleasure. You're one of those guys who oh gosh, I was thinking Juan Diaz. You're like Juan Diaz. You make me feel like a child because you guys have real world experience, and all I've ever done is to run a school, right? So
Well,
I know that you have had to put up with this for decades, but let's start with the name.
okay.
Who came first, you or the Tom Laughlin character?
It would be me.
Okay, so he styled his movies after you.
Well, I'd like to think so, but not really. But just a coincidence, but it didn't hurt the martial arts business when you got some Hollywood,
Right.
thing going on with the name. So yeah, I did come first. So
Okay, and then the last name. I bet all my students that your answer would be yes to this. Your nickname in high school was Billy Jack Ruckus.
absolutely, to this day.
I knew it. I knew it.
That is true.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Oh, I love it. Okay. So, and then the other thing about names, the origin, one source, progressive fighting. So break that down for me. Why one source?
Well, back when I first started looking at forming a business, there were so many people that was influential in my life. I tried to look at how I could first of all, pay respects to those people, but it's impossible to do sometimes when, you know, you're looking at doing this.
Right.
So I was training with Paul Vunak also at the time, and I always liked the term progressive or progression in the martial arts. So I was talking to him about it, and another friend of mine at the time named Dave Dutton, we were just kicking things around, and we come up with one source, and that's how it came about. So it's
okay. Let's talk about the people of influence. So since I know you from Atlanta, I assume Francis Fong, I assume Dan Inasano, I assume Chai Surasut, because they are the people who have always been featured at the Atlanta seminar.
correct.
Right? You mentioned Paul. So who okay, so who else is there that we should know about?
Well, in the beginning, my first art was Chinese Hawaiian Kempo, which almost didn't happen. I got invited to the school, and I didn't know you weren't just supposed to show up. So my friend invited me, and I go in, and I'm just standing in the corner, and the instructor comes out, and he was ex-Mr. Tennessee, so I was a little intimidated right off the bat. And he wanted to know what I'm doing there, and I said, well, I just come to watch. He goes, we don't watch, get in line or get out. And I was so intimidated, I just got in line. That's how I started in the martial arts.
How old were you?
But, oh, wow, I was late teens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
it
was pretty funny.
So you came into martial arts in your late teens. That was your first experience?
Correct. I had a few buddies who had trained in some different systems, but I just never saw anything I was really interested in. Maybe I didn't put enough time into it, but I really enjoyed the Kempo for the type of training it was. And there was kind of a JKD connection at that time, but I didn't know it. I was new to the martial arts because Sifu Tom Curry was under Professor James Cravens, who was under Daniel Pye was in that system, and Christopher Casey also, who was trained with Taki Kimura. So there was kind of a connection, but I did not know it at the time.
Right.
So it was interesting as time went on. So.
Okay. So you yourself don't have any Bruce Lee stories, Bruce Lee influence stories?
You know, it was just the movies, growing up with it and seeing it. And we all used to gather up on the weekends in Tennessee and come to Atlanta. They would have a Kung Fu theater all day long. And we'd all pile in there and watch Kung Fu movies all day and go out at night. So that was my introduction into it through my instructor. So it was kind of unique. So.
Okay. So you're born and bred Tennessean?
No, I grew up in Florida. My dad was in the military, and when he was exiting, they stationed him in Florida, and I was born on the Air Force Base there in Eglin, Air Force Base.
Are you yourself military?
No, I am not.
Okay. Because you look the part, you know.
Well, you know, it's funny. I just right place, right time. I got in with some good people, and a lot of them were ex-military and military. And I was able to get into that clique a little bit without being in the military. And it just opened some doors for me, the martial arts did. And I just kind of pursued that path. And
was that your... Was that your original intention to go the route of like defensive tactics and what have you, or?
No, I originally just wanted to train, obviously, and then I looked at wanting to open a school, but I got introduced into some law enforcement connections through Paul and some different people, and it just kind of started escalating from that point. So I kind of went with what came my way.
Right. And
it's a little tough at that time to get in with law enforcement because they were kind of set, but it was changing. Newer people were coming in, and the defensive tactics term was strictly for the law enforcement. It made sense to them.
Yeah.
And from there, I worked with some people from Homeland Security, Federal Air Marshals.
Right.
And they gave me a lot of opportunities. They would send me to some other agencies that would put me through SWAT school and different things to see what they do in order to help further my training with them.
Yeah.
So.
Well, so you've never actually run or owned a school?
Not a school totally for myself.
Right.
I've actually worked with Sully, you know, we shared some spaces and things, but no, I did not. It was never something that interested me until now as I'm getting older. It's more attractive.
Yeah.
So,
you'd probably because you're smarter, you'd probably do a better job now than, you know, getting started by trying to run a school and not really knowing how to run a business. Because, you know,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because that's something that happens to a lot of us. All right, so One Source was formed in 2001.
Correct.
Okay, let's go back to before 2001. Let's go way back.
Okay.
What did you study in school? In grade school, what was your favorite subject?
Grade school. Well, I have to be honest, recess probably, I was not a hard studier. It took a while to get the idea. My dad kind of had to force that into me. So
Yeah.
in grade school, I was a little bit of, not so much a rebel, but a little bit off the normal block. A little bit of troublemaking probably, you know.
Did you go off to college?
I went to technical college
Okay.
and studied mechanical drafting, and actually got an apprenticeship doing that and realized that is not what I wanted to do. So I looked for an exit strategy. So I did. I just didn't stick with it.
What did you find as the exit strategy?
Well, a friend of mine had worked for the Teamsters Union, and he had got me into the union in order to go to work for a freight company, which worked on the docks. Hard work, but really good money back at that early age. And from there, I started, that's when the martial arts and everything started getting into, you know, a little better method of it, getting more of an understanding. And that's when I started wanting to pursue that path. So.
Okay. And so how did you end up in Georgia at Sifu Francis's?
I was making trips on the weekend, every other weekend, to come down and train. And I was doing classes on Saturday, and then I would train with the instructors on Sunday in private lessons.
Okay.
Guru Bruce Jolly and Sihing Shin, Steve Grantham, and Herb Zuda back in that time.
Yeah.
And a company I was working for at the time, which was a property management company, had an opening in Atlanta, so I jumped on it.
Okay.
And moved to Atlanta so I could train.
What is it about Sifu Francis? Because when I was talking with Sully, we brought up the name Brian Crenshaw, who is out of Virginia. And I remember in the 90s when I started going to the Southeast Conference, there were a ton of people from different states. And I found out that there were a lot of people doing what you did. They would go up on the weekends. What is it about him and his school that attracted all that travel?
Well, I think one of the things is he's such a unique individual and he's such a great instructor. And having the associations with the people he did was the closest option to a lot of people in the Southeast. I mean, obviously he has that draw.
Yeah.
But I think being able to get there, and he was always so open about training with others, that I think that was a huge draw to people to go in. And, you know, even his teaching methods are unique, and you have to be able to extract it sometimes. But it was just a really, really good school, and there were some awesome people there, instructors and, you know, brothers and sisters in the academy. Yeah,
you also have to be mentally and visually fast to keep up with Francis Fong.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't tell you how many times he'd pull me up, and I was so excited to get to work with him. He'd just push me off the mat because I couldn't keep up. Never gave up, but I remember that to this day.
Yeah.
It's funny.
So that's how you came into the JKD world then with Sifu Nasano?
Actually, before that, my instructor was really a little bit ahead of his time. He was back in the 70s, you know, we didn't cross-train that much. I did not know how much they didn't do it, but he was training with Sifu Larry at the time, and I didn't know it. So he started bringing in Sifu Larry down to Chattanooga, and Guru Dickey would come with him sometimes, and we'd train in the basement of my instructor's house.
Right.
That was my first introduction into
here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. I never asked you this before, but I knew there had to be a North Carolina connection with you.
Yeah.
Right? Because
sure was.
Yeah, because let me tell you, Dickie Harrell, that guy is my childhood hero.
Amazing. Yes.
I remember the first time I met him, I just wanted to get on my knees and bow down to him.
Yeah, I remember when they came down, it was very exciting, and it's such a great time back then. You know, you had to really seek out more than you can now. It's a little, I'm not saying it's easier, but it's more available.
Yeah.
But Guru Dickey was all, we're not really close, but we've known each other. And he's just a super person, a great instructor. I mean, can't say enough about him.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought of this today because I was watching one of my shows, and they have a sponsor. So since you're military affiliated, right? do you have a favorite military coffee? Do you know about these things? Black Rifle.
Yeah, they're out there.
Yeah, Black Rifle, Counter Strike, Blue Angel. Do you know about these?
Yeah, the Black Rifle's the one that I've tried and use occasionally. So
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that a coffee has made its name that way, but it is true.
Yep, there's like 20 of them, you know.
Yeah.
And me, I'm still at Dunkin' Donuts. All right.
Well, I used to be a Starbucks guy, but I had to cut that out.
Yeah, no, that language is just too fancy. I can't handle it. You know.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, small, medium, and large. I'm there. All right. But one of the other things I want to talk to you about is physical training, because there's pictures of you with the kettlebell, and I mean, there are no pictures of you with your shirt off, but I'm pretty sure. Right?
That may be a good thing.
So I wanted to ask you about that, because so let me see. I made a note about it. On your website, there's corporate training, mobile training, seminars, personal training, group classes. There's this variety of services offered, right?
Correct.
But I wanted to talk to you about the fitness aspect. What role does that play in the overall scheme of one source?
It's a huge part of it. It's for people that I train on a regular basis. I don't make it mandatory, but I highly recommend it. The personal thing that happened to me is I got involved with a group of executive protection people, and I worked some different companies and did some different jobs. Had an incident happen that made me very aware that my conditioning was not where it should be.
Yeah.
Came out okay, but I thought I was going to die, so
right.
You know, it was not where it was. So, you know, we have conditioning in classes. It's martial arts, you know, pre-warm-ups and different things, and the workouts are hard, no doubt. I'm talking about when I was coming up through the ranks.
Yeah.
But it's not specific enough, I think, for certain things that happen. So I found Alan Baker's the one that first introduced me to kettlebell, and I found that I did not like it. So the first few times I tried it, I was like, this is crazy, you know. So I wavered away from it, put on some weight, looked at doing different things, couldn't find a mix. And then I finally researched it enough to realize, okay, well, there's other methods off kettlebell.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I combined, started doing body weight drills and kettlebells for the fighter's fitness conditioning aspect of it. Right. And for me, it translates pretty well.
Okay.
It's very functional.
Jerry King says that he's scarred from kettlebell training with you.
Jerry's a retired SWAT guy here from Atlanta, and he has his photographer business now. He's really good at it. But yeah, we used to do we were so competitive, he would call me, hey, I did this, and I cut like 4 seconds off the drill. I wouldn't even talk to him till I could beat the 4 seconds, you know, so we were so competitive.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were good days.
One of the testimonials on your site, there's a client of yours, a Ms. Saltkill,
Desiree, yes,
who says that you are the reason why people should not mess with her. Right?
She's very kind. Yeah.
Right. But I just thought, Saltkill, man, what a heck of a name, huh?
I know, right?
Yeah.
She's very fit, very physical, has natural talent. Her and her boyfriend, Alex, are very much into fitness, and they've trained with me for years off and on.
Okay. Okay. So talk to me about the training then, because we just mentioned it. So corporate training, so you'll go out to a company and work like throughout the company or just with the executives or what?
A little of both, but mostly it's an elite group in that company, a small group, and they'll have us do the, sometimes it's more fitness, but they really like what I label as self-preservation training, and it's a team building effort. There's certain things that that environment will not allow.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to be more cautious, but headbutts are usually out. But yeah, that's a good gig for me. I mean, I really enjoy it because it gets you to open up to people who normally may not search you out, but they're there because of the environment.
Yeah. And then the mobile training is exactly what it sounds like. You'll go to them.
Correct. I have some clients who, one of them was the ex-president. He's retired now for UPS and things like that. That would go to their home and train. Okay. So it's convenience for them. Right. Because in Atlanta, I guess like a lot of places, travel time is ridiculous. So.
Yeah. But now when it comes to mobile, where in the world has your job taken you?
Different places. It's mostly Southeastern.
Okay.
Tennessee, Alabama, back states in this area. I don't really venture out that far.
Oh, okay.
Because the travel that I do with my executive protection job sometimes can take you out other areas.
Right. So. Yeah. Because I was, because in the media, in the movies and what have you, the executive protection thing is very glamorous. Correct. Right. So it's so somebody like me who doesn't have any experience in it, like I might think that a gig in Abu Dhabi is what everybody wants. I'm probably wrong, am I not?
No, I would not want that, but yeah, I like the local. I've had to do some travel out of the country or did some travel out of the country, but the group that I'm with, I've been with them for 11 years, and they're a great group of guys. Yeah. The team leaders, ex-special ops guys, and we're all very type A competitive. And the way I got into that is they were looking for some training, and they went at it full force. We're doing 4 days a week, and they had offered me a job, and I thought, I don't want to do that, And as things went on and progressed, I started looking at it and thought, well, this is awesome, because what they do is they require a certain amount of training in other areas I was not experienced in. Right. It sends you for that. Yeah. So, the firearms being part of it, which I really, really like, put a lot of time into it. I was terrible in the beginning. Yeah. It was tough. Yeah. But it has progressed. So
there are two things I want you to touch on, because you talked about those guys, but I can feel from the pictures on your website, maybe they are type A competitive, but there's definitely this camaraderie feeling. You can get it from the pictures.
Really? Well, that's awesome. Yeah, there really are. We formed some really good relationships just through the training. Sometimes at first you're kind of an outsider because I am not military and never claimed to be. Right. But they will welcome you into that community if you have something to offer, I guess. I'm not trying to make it sound like it's a one-sided thing by no means, but once they get to know you and they see that, okay, you're there to help them and you have something that they see is valuable, absolutely. Form some really good bonds for years with some of these guys.
And the only way that you can have something to offer is if you really know what you're doing.
I'd like to think so.
Right? So what would your advice be to somebody who wanted to get into what you're doing? Right? So they have like a general martial arts experience, but they don't have specific defensive tactics or what have you. What's their starting point?
Well, I think you have to look at the client, obviously, and see what their needs are. If it's, I did some work with some Homeland Security people, and some of it was for the airline or airplane, right? So you're confined. So you got to know what they're looking for, and sometimes they don't express it exactly, but you really just got to trim things down. You have to be able to convey it, and you have to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And just be open-minded, because a lot of it involves weapons. So everything some of these people do, there's a weapon involved, a firearm involved. So you've got to educate yourself, I believe, in their area enough to where you can understand it. It's doable, but it takes a little research.
Right. What was it that you found translated well in the training that you had done? What translated well into that defensive tactics arena?
I think the mindset of the training I did with Sifu Fong and all the instructors there, and some of the, Guru Dan, obviously, but I was able to spend more personal time with Sifu Fong being there. Mm-hmm. But the concepts really transferred tremendously into that arena, even to the firearms. If you look at it as and I'll use concepts of Jeet Kune Do as a term, then if you understand the body mechanics and attribute training, it will transfer, but you've just got to kind of see what the connection is in it. And it doesn't have to be a certain way. You can be mobile. And to be honest with you, that's my favorite thing, is mobility in shooting, and mobility in those areas, mm-hmm. not a very set structured. You have to have an outline,
right?
But you can't just have it a cookie cutter kind of program, because you're going to get all kind of different things that we never think of maybe in the martial arts world. What's the most exciting assignment you've had that you can tell us about? It's fun, but it's really not a lot of excitement. It's a lot of long hours and good shoes, because you're going to be standing around a whole lot. It sounds a lot more glamorous, but it's really what you're there that could happen more than what does.
Right.
But there's been some fun things. There's been a few things that come up where you get to take that 30 seconds out of a 12-hour day and enjoy it. So,
are there?
There's a lot of non-disclosure,
right,
in that world.
Right.
So.
Because that was going to be my follow-up question. What are the exciting assignments that you cannot tell us about?
It's just a lot of personal things. When you're doing this, you see the inside world of their activities in their home and their things like that. And got to do some things for some celebrities, but not as much as a private client. I have one client now that I basically work for, and they're great people, really good to work for, and it just makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah. Give me an idea of what your day-to-day schedule is like. I mean, because we've texted back and forth, but it's always like at 7 a.m.
Yeah, I'm an early guy. The detail that I work now, Mondays is a full day for me. I really have no time for anything. It's a full detailed day. Mm-hmm. From I get up about 5. I'm on site about 6:30 and get home sometimes 7, 8, whatever. But the rest of the week, I really don't have to be on site until noon.
Right.
I'm always early guy, so I'm always there a little bit early. Atlanta, you got to prior planning for that. But, I do my personal training in the morning for myself. I usually get up early enough to do whatever I need on the computer, etc., and then I'll hit the kettlebell, and whether it's strength training or it's yoga or it's just working on the bag or whatever it may be, I schedule out my personal time early in the morning, and then I'm good, because it just doesn't work out later in the day.
Right.
Although I will have to say, my team leader's pretty cool. There's a gym where we are, and if we have some downtime, he's all about us hitting the gym. So that's a good thing.
And when you get home, what's at home waiting for you? Now I'm getting personal. Now I'm getting into your business.
No.
Right?
Whatever I left that morning, because I live by myself.
Okay.
Single guy.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I can't come in and go, who left that? Because it would be me.
Yeah.
But that's it. But, it's a good thing. When I get home, I'm usually pretty much done for the day.
Yeah. There's a lyric in a song from a couple of years ago that I heard, and I thought, man, they're talking about me. The lyric is, when I go home, I tend to close the door. That was like, yep. Sounds like me. I mean, I don't even have a dog because I don't think that my lifestyle would be fair to that animal because I'm not around often enough.
Oh, I agree. Well, I'm the same way. I would love to have a pet sometimes, but it's just not fair because I'm gone so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't want to put it in a kennel. So, but my girlfriend does have a pet and she'll leave it with me sometimes. And then I'm good to go when she comes back. I'm like, okay.
Okay. So you do have a regular life.
I do.
Okay. So what's the last movie that you watched, but not on Netflix? You actually went to like Kung Fu cinema, right?
Let's see. I think the last one I went to see was Aquaman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so pretty recent. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're more recent than I am.
Yeah, it's date night.
Okay.
Which I enjoy. It's fun.
Yeah.
But, I probably would not do it as much if wasn't for the girlfriend.
Okay.
So.
Okay. And if she wanted to go out to eat, who chooses? You choose or she chooses?
And you know how that works. It's kind of like you pick, I pick, you pick. So we have she's pretty healthy too. She does a lot of yoga and we both watch our diet. Yeah. So it's not like there's 1,000 choices, but we kind of alternate. Yeah. Being honest with you.
If you picked your favorite, what would you pick?
Wow, that's tough. I guess seafood is my favorite.
Okay.
Somewhere a really good seafood restaurant.
Yeah, you're one of them healthy guys. God damn.
Yeah, no bread, that kind of thing, So.
And did I see a photograph on your Facebook page of a surfboard? There's, gosh, I'm trying to remember. I didn't have a chance to look it up.
I don't know.
Yeah, there was a picture of. Man, I swear it was a surfboard, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it wasn't your picture. Maybe you didn't you didn't put it up.
Somebody, I don't remember it. I don't surf, so I know it wasn't.
Okay, so it wasn't yours.
Yeah. Right.
Let me ask you, because one of the other things I wanted to talk to you about is because we mentioned it earlier, mindset, right? And you said that there was the mindset from training with Sifu Francis. What do you mean by that? Can you go deeper into that?
Yeah, I think what I get out of that is Sifu's so detailed.
Yeah.
And you really need that mindset of being open-minded so you can absorb all the things coming to you. Because sometimes on the surface, it looks a little different.
Yeah.
But once you listen to him and watch him, then you can go, okay, now I kind of see where this is going.
Right.
Because some people get lost. And I was one of them. And it's not that he travels. Well, he does travel in and out of certain things, but there's always an end to it.
Yes.
There's a reason for it, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think that helped me perceive other areas that I went into to not prejudge, to just kind of step back and take a look at it and see what's going on with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What could you say is the biggest difference between the Billy Jack Ruckus, who wasn't paying attention in school, and the guy that's here live on Facebook with me today?
Well, the biggest difference in school, I only did what I had to do to kind of maintain. Mm-hmm. And the martial arts was absolutely hard for me. I mean, it didn't come natural. I really had to work at it, so I focused. And once I started focusing on that, it allowed me to start focusing on the other parts of my life that I haven't done previously. So.
So, yeah. Okay, so martial arts impacted your outlook or your outlook?
Absolutely.
Okay.
No, absolutely, by far. I was just kind of, just running around, not sure what direction I was going. Right. And once I got involved with the martial arts, I started seeing things differently. And it really, to be honest, it opened the door to do what I'm doing today. Without it, I would never be where I am today.
Right.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And it's not because just teaching. I mean, just the kind of person I like to think I
am. Well, I'll ask Suli to tell me about that. Right.
But the surfboard, I just saw a thing pop up, was a friend of mine that's on our team also has a outdoor business, like Appalachian Outdoors. So, I mean, he sells those kind of things. So it's probably a paddle board. That's probably.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah, and that makes sense because I was thinking surfboard.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. So, I just lost my train of thought there. But in creating one source, in my opinion, you have literally applied the 4 tenets of Jeet Kune Do. So tenet number 1, research your own experience. So can we delve into that? What research did you do, and what did you get out of it?
Well, researching to me was looking at different systems and different arts, and a lot of times you have to go, you have to be honest with yourself and self-evaluate yourself honestly. And I think that's what I did, because I could see areas, and still lacking in some areas, but I would go in and look at what I wanted to do and what really would work. I mean, there's drills, but there's always reasons for these things. You know, there's drilling, then there's the actual application of it. And you don't have to do that, but I would try to put myself in that arena from jobs I did or different things that would happen, so I could see if it actually would work for me. And one of my instructors one time, I told him, I said, look, this is not working. I'm not really coming out too well on this. He goes, well, it's not the system, it's you. It's the individual. And I went, oh, you know, so, so he was right. You know, so,
okay.
But just researching different systems and different people. And to me, that would be, hopefully I'm answering what you're asking.
Yeah.
And,
okay. So now tell me about absorbing what is useful. I mean, like what stands out in your memory or in your mind about the research and absorbing what is useful?
For my particular path that I took is not so much trying to share with complete systems with people that I train, or the things that I do. I mean, it's all valuable, and I do believe in going through those systems.
Yeah.
But I think you, and it's not like I invented the wheel. It's pretty common, but if you look at it, but it's just looking at what works for you and what you can extract from that research to apply it to your not only martial arts path or your everyday life. And I think that's the biggest thing that I would get out of it. And obviously certain things are better at certain points, whether it's a concept or a method of training or a tool.
Yeah.
And I think being able to be around the people I was, it made it easier for me to extract those things for the people I was sharing it with.
Yeah. I got to ask you, because I'm pretty sure that mindset is of paramount importance for you. And I'm pretty sure that you try to pass that on to your students, that mindset is of paramount importance. When people come to you, how much physical versus mental readjusting would you say you have to do, generally speaking?
Yeah, it's a little switch depending on the individual. Obviously, some people are already physically conditioned and have done things that they had to step outside the box and accomplish.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's more the mental, I think. For most of the clients that I work with, they're used to certain things, but I think the mental aspect of really where do you want to go, and you just got to tough it out sometimes and understand, why it is so difficult.
Yeah.
And be there. To me, it's how do you beat the drill, or how do you accomplish it? And it's just don't quit, just don't give up.
Right.
Just hang in there.
Yeah.
So.
Staying on the theme of absorb what is useful, what did you absorb from Francis Fong?
Oh, wow. There's just so much teaching methods. And,
we would run out of battery.
Absolutely. It's just so much. He was so generous and so kind of sharing knowledge with me. And it's so funny. And I watched your interview with Sully, and it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
You can ask him a question. He'll give you the answer, but it's not like you and I talking. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, you can do that. And I'm like, well, does that mean I can or should, or, so you really got to find it. But being open as he was, and the effectiveness that he had in teaching abilities, it was just so much. I mean, he really becomes a part of your life when you're there. And I mean, I look up to him to this day. I don't see him as much.
Right.
But when I do stop in there, it's just like I never left.
Yeah.
He's just this same guy when I was.
That's truly what makes it an incredible place. I mean,
it is.
I in the old days, I used to go every year. I don't as much now, but when I get there, I feel like I belong also, and I'm not even from there, right?
Right.
What did you absorb? Well, first of all, how did you get hooked up with Paul Vunak?
I researched it a little bit back in the mid '80s. I think he had just finished some of the SEAL team training.
Okay.
And I was interested in some of the things he was doing. So when I went out to California, I planned on going to see him after I left Guru Dan's training.
Okay.
And but before that, I saw in a magazine he was going to be, and here we go again, North Carolina, Asheville, or South Carolina. I can't remember, wherever it was in that area. I went, wow, that's pretty close. So I went up, and this gentleman had brought him in, and there was only like 5 people at the seminar.
Wow.
And yeah, it was amazing, and really good and really bad for me, because I had a little bit of knowledge. So I got to demo with him, but I'm going to tell you, it was brutal. It was tough.
Yeah.
And he was a very nice guy to me, but it was tough. We were working thigh kicks, and I swear the next day I almost went home.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if I can go through this again.
Yeah.
So
in one of the Facebook pictures, your people are suited up with the shin guards and what have you. Is that a Muay Thai session? Because I'm not sure if you are you Muay Thai certified also?
I am not.
Okay.
I am not, but I have trained some.
Right.
Trained, which doesn't mean anything. But what we do is we take the concepts,
Yes.
and some of the people I've trained have done quite a bit of the Thai.
Right.
And we use it, and it's a blend system I teach. It's not, it's hard to say. I'm not recreating anything, but as you know, the Thai is very valuable in real encounter areas.
Yeah.
And I like pulling certain things from it.
Right.
And we do make contact. One of our things that we try to do every second class session, only teach 2 hours a week. And the second hour we hit pads, then we go glove on glove or body on glove drills. Yeah. And it's cool.
I'm smiling. I'm smiling because that's exactly what we did yesterday.
Oh, awesome. Is that not cool?
Right.
And people are amazed at how different, you can smoke the pads, and then when you start hitting the body, it's like, what?
Yeah.
That's awesome to watch.
Yeah.
I love that.
Because Steve Mosley in England posted a 1990s video of himself and Steve Grody.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, his introduction to focus mitt training. And you know how, because my recollection is that Paul Vunak had a very alive method of using the focus mitts. Rather than just hit, move around,
Correct.
Hit again or whatever, they would go at you. Right?
Yeah, you're exactly right. They would punch you with them and hit you with them just like a glove.
Yeah.
And really, it's smart, because it's like, well, now we're sparring, but I didn't realize it. So, yeah, that's pretty cool that you've seen that. That's true, and that's a lot of that I pull from. And I think we call it active feeding. It just means you're going to get hit with the mitt.
Yeah.
So
yeah. See, this is why, right? I find it funny that there's a contention that there's a lot of division in Jeet Kune Do, but I don't think that's true. I think a lot of us, right, actually end up doing very, very, very similar things.
I believe so. I think you're right.
Yeah. So let's see. So Sifu Nick wants to know if there's any Savat in your curriculum.
There's a little that I pulled that I got from Sifu Paul, and then Sully also trains Savat.
Right.
So sometimes we can exchange some ideas, but yes.
Okay. And your first hour of attribute training, I missed. Wait, let me see if I can. Michael Colgan says, "Can Billy share his first hour of attribute training?" I don't know if he means in your class or if.
Okay,
do you know what he's talking
here's
about?
why I'm going to give this away to something like, I don't know if it works for you, but some people do not want certain things.
Right.
Whether it's Kali or Wing Chun or whatever it may be. So the first hour I label as attribute training, which means we can simply do anything that I want to do. So it can be stick fighting, it can be knife fighting, it can be ground fighting, it can be trapping, and that's how I incorporate them into those arenas, because it is attributes.
Okay.
And they do need it, in my opinion. So yeah, that's how I do it. So.
Okay.
And I generally connect it to the second class, whether it be footwork or concepts or principles or whatever. So.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll tell you this: you're fitter than I am, because I only teach for an hour and a half.
Well, I only go 2 for that, so we're not far apart.
But then I'm big in the Inasano tradition of talking for an hour afterwards.
I got you.
Which is one of the things that I absorbed from him. What have you absorbed from Inasano?
You know, the things that I remember so much, but at one point, you know, Guru Bruce Jolly was the one who picked them up when they come in town, and then that eventually fell back to me, and picking up Arjan Chan, Guru Dan, and Joel, and you know, Eric Paulson or whoever would be with them. Yeah. And those rides back and forth to dinner and to the airport, tremendous. Just sitting there, just listening. You know, and it's just conversations between them. Those were just, as Guru Dan would say, diamonds. Mm-hmm. Those were great moments for me. Just casual conversations and listening, and out, you know, training, it's just so much. Yeah. You know, seminar, academy, but those were really good things that I remember that I enjoyed. Okay.
I feel like I don't have to ask you anything about what you rejected as being useless. But but I will do it, because Chris Kent said to me yesterday that he has kind of rephrased that to reject what is not useful for you.
Oh, well, that's great. I'd have to agree with that. Yeah.
What can you think of anything that you ultimately, after trying it, you thought, this just is not working for me?
Oh, there's a lot of things that don't work for me, but I try to share it with my students, because it may work for them. Right. But yeah, I mean, there's just, and I'm not using this as a card, but as I get older, there's certain things that absolutely just doesn't work like it used to, you know? So yeah, I agree with that. I don't think it's completely useless, but it's not for me, but I will share it. And again, I try to use the same concepts and philosophies that I came up with. And it's, if there's things you're looking for that I'm not great at or don't do, then you should search it out. Mm-hmm. You know, you have to do that for yourself. Mm-hmm. And I'm not ever opposed to someone cross-training or going somewhere else. Right. It's just what you have to do. Okay. I did it. I think we all have done it. You know?
Okay. So now, tenet number 4, add specifically what is your own. What are some of the things that you've come up with? I know you've said it twice, I think, that you've not recreated anything, but I'm pretty sure that there are some personal touches that you've put onto stuff.
Yeah, I think for me, it's as we talked earlier, some of it's the mental aspect that I've been able to get from some other areas that maybe some of the people haven't trained in, with the tactical part or the firearms part. Okay. And those things, because it is a different world, but it can connect. It's projectile weapons. You know, one of the firearms people that we train with is called Super Dave Harrington, and his company used to be called Marshall Gun, mm-hmm. which was based kind of after the JKD principles. So yeah. A phenomenal instructor and shooter, and really hardcore training. So I've taken some of those, I think that's helped me develop. Yeah. And I'll take some of those things and then incorporate into what we do.
Like, so I'll say it again. I spent my time coming up running a school, not out mm-hmm. there every day putting it on the line in the real world, right? When all of the nonsense about this Jeet Kune Do versus that Jeet Kune Do versus the other Jeet Kune Do came about, what's the opinion that somebody like you would have about it?
Well, I stay out of politics completely. It's not accidental, it's intentional, because through our times, you've been around as longer than I have in it, and you've seen how those things can corrupt.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good word, but you can see how it taints things that go on, and I've really tried to stay out of that. I look at the person, and even though we've never really spent much time together, this was really good for us to meet on my end of it, especially because seeing you at the seminars, you're extremely talented, and I knew there was a connection there, but for whatever reason, we just never got to do that. But yeah. I think when you're around people, you can take a short time with them and feel that, okay, this is more about them or the politics side of it, where I'm really just about sharing what I've had experiences with. Yeah. And I just stay out of that.
See, because my thing is, we're all in the same spot. We're all at Francis Fong's school. Immediately, you're my brother because obviously we're into the same things. Otherwise, we would not be in that same spot.
Yeah, so it's funny you say that, because when I first started going from Tennessee to the academy, and they had asked what I've been doing or who you've been training with, and I said, well, I've trained under Seafood Larry. Oh, wow, you're a brother just from a different part of the family.
Right.
That was just crazy.
Yeah.
That was the first time I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcomed me right in, took me right in.
Yeah. And I've said this before on other episodes, but that's partially the reason why I do this, because I want people to realize that the JKD family is one of the biggest martial art families out there, right? All families are dysfunctional, so we do have that. But but there's a lot of good stuff in what we do. The mental development thing. Can you think of a book or something that helped you that you could recommend or suggest to anybody who comes across this interview?
There's a few things through Sifu Fong that we have read by, and I'm going to be bad with names. I'm really bad, but the mindset book that Sifu was associated with, was it Jim? I'm really bad.
The Winning Mindset?
Yes,
Kevin Seaman's book?
Yeah, that was pretty good. And I'm not like a huge reader. I do read, but I'm not follow certain things like that. But I think experiences for me with other people has been where I've kind of got mine from. Listening to their stories and them sharing things or working with them and seeing some of the things they've done.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. People in your field, do they have like a dream assignment, like a dream detail?
Oh, I'm sure they do. But, mine's to go home at the end of the day and get paid. So that's kind of where I'm at. But,
because you're all.
I'm really fortunate, Dwight. I got to tell you, I got a great bunch of guys I work with. They took me in, and a lot of times people go, "How in the world can you do that without the military experience?"
Right.
And it's the martial arts. I mean, it opened the door, and I don't say it was a gift to me. I had the opportunity. Waves come by all the time. You can miss one, you can catch one, but you got to go after it. And I just think that's what made the difference for me, is I wanted to do it, and they were kind enough to put me into their world and help me along.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. I want to make sure that everything that I had down here. All right. I can't get you to tell me about the exciting assignments.
Well, maybe off air sometime we can sit down and have a coffee, donut, something, whatever.
All right, but you can tell me this. So off the top of your head, who in the JKD clan should I try to get on to the show with me?
Oh, there's just a tremendous amount, as you had said, and I don't know everybody you had, but there's Guru Dickey. I think he would be a great guy. And,
he's on the list.
Has been around for a long time, and you've already spoken with Sifu. And there's some of the other people that came up through the Francis Fong Academy after or during our time there. When I say ours, those Kevin Lee, who I haven't spoke to lately, but he's a great guy. Just a lot of those people. If I sit down and think about it, I could probably send you.
Yes. Send me a list. All right.
Off the top of my head, those are some pretty
okay.
Talented, pretty good.
All right. So what was I supposed to ask you that I haven't asked you?
Oh, I don't think there's anything. I think you did pretty good. I'm not a big opponent of talking about myself too much, so you've done pretty good. So you got me to open up a little bit. I'm very quiet usually.
Well,
so.
that's why I started that at the beginning, because this is the first opportunity that I have had to talk to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the guy in the corner.
Exactly.
That's funny.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, man, it's been a pleasure doing this. I really
appreciate it.
Believe me, the pleasure is all mine. All right. Okay. So everybody, that's it. Episode 43 with Billy Jack Ruckus. And remember, like Bruce Jolly said, you are the real Billy Jack.
Thanks a lot.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Okay, man. Take care.
Bye. Bye. You too. Bye.
Now that's what I call fun. Okay. All right, everybody. That was Billy Jack Rucks of One Source Progressive Fighting. If you sent me questions or whatever and I didn't get to, I apologize. It's a little bit difficult for me to monitor that stuff at the same time. So let me tell you about next Friday's Jeet Kune Do Dialogues. We will be on, this is episode number 44 with JJ Dallo of Dallo Martial Arts in I'm sorry. It's in Michigan, right? So that'll be next Friday at 3 p.m. regular time. And then on Wednesday, of course, we'll do another issue of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues. So feel free, share, like, comment, dislike, ask questions, sign up for notifications for when we go live on Facebook, and also for when we post the new video on the YouTube. Let's see. Go to jkdrebel.com/store. See if there's an item there that you like and purchase that. All proceeds go to supporting the channel in our efforts to upgrade what we offer. And that's it. You guys have a great weekend. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, signing off. I'll see you next time. Take care.